What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today, we've got a very exciting guest. I cold messaged him earlier this week and he was like, let's talk. So, honestly, we've got the one and only John Aspinall here. John, nice to meet you, man.
What's going on? So nice to see you. Yes, I was very rapid with my responses and then not so rapid when the power went out in my office. And you're probably sitting there like, this guy ghosted me. I'm over here sitting in the dark, not knowing, dead phone, sitting in the dark, no internet. I was probably going to send you like a carrier pigeon and hopefully it got to you, but we're here now. But yes, John Aspinall, um, currently, recently, as of this week, chief evangelist over at Trellis, as well as co-founder and co-founder. Oh my gosh, there is no other founder. I work with a lot of people, so I said co-founder. Founder and CEO of Aspie Creatives for merchandising and consulting on images, creative CTR and CVR, and all good things that get the click on Amazon, Walmart, and anywhere else. And even more recently, because I don't like sleep, founder and CEO of Ecom Ghosts, where I ghost write for founders, execs, C-suite level people in the e-commerce space on LinkedIn to get more clicks, more impressions, more leads, and good stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah,
I figured today.
clearly,
Oh,
I have nothing else to do. No, I'm just kidding. Clearly, I don't like sleep, and I just love.
yeah. Well, maybe you got some sleep when the power went out because it was dark.
I
That's why you're
freaked
so
out. I
refreshed right
got
now.
my adrenaline went up because I'm freaking out. So you would think I should probably just take a nap next time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, I was specifically really excited to talk to you because of the cool stuff you've been posting on LinkedIn about main image and things like that. And so I thought this would be a really interesting opportunity for us to talk about main image optimization, how to kind of like make a main image that stands out. You talk a lot about how you break the rules, but you break the rules with intention to actually improve the shopper experience. There's specifically a post you put up about a stroller that I really liked. So like, I think there's a lot of different stuff we could talk about, but maybe we start at the beginning. What to you are the key components of like a great main image? Like not just something good, but great, you know?
Yeah, so it really depends on like the category, right? Because there's some things you can do, and some categories you can do a lot of this stuff in, some categories you can't. For example, jewelry, apparel. There's a lot of things you can't do, and there's very strict guidelines on those. But to me, a good hero image is one that tells me everything I need to know that I can buy from that hero image. I'd like to act as if, what if there is no image stack? What if there is no A plus? What could I buy from this main image alone? Sometimes that's not possible, but when it is possible and competitors are doing it, those are things that you want to look at. So for example, supplements is the Wild West. Supplements, you could do anything in supplements category, like literally almost anything. You have the product outside, you have, the finished good, you have arms sometimes, you have people running, you have flavors popping up everywhere, gummy bears flying from the ceiling. So if you try and do that in footwear, for example, you're probably not going to be able to do so. But it's really funny because actually in the footwear space, which is typically a really locked down kind of category, Amazon, for whatever reason, is allowing China direct sellers. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick because I'm super visual.
Yeah, let's see it.
Let's do this. Cool. So, like in the typical footwear space, right, on Amazon, image guidelines says it's very, very clear. It's one shoe in a certain direction. That's it. Can't even show two shoes for the most part. And when I look up work boots, for example, you see that, for the most part. Now, look at this right here. It's a little tiny hammer hitting the steel toe in the boot, right? And if you take a
Mm-hmm.
look, 9 out of 10 times, it's China Direct, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm noticing that Amazon isn't caring too much when it comes to China Direct, but if it's a US company, it's not allowing them to do that and they're getting image suppressed. So it's interesting.
Really?
Yeah. So you don't want to, if I look at sneakers, for example. So sneakers, historically, you're only going to see one shoe. But when you start to, by the way, that's not a sneaker, but that's interesting that a sponsored
Mm-hmm.
ad for some underwear pops up. You see this over here? Now we're showing two shoes. Now, if I click on this and I go and see who it is sold by, right? Maybe it's a US company, maybe it's not. Um, it's a US company, right? So again, you're going to find some that are noticing people doing different things and slip through the cracks, and then others are not. But you're seeing a lot of different things that are happening in this category. Now, if one thing you notice, there's not a lot of people showing the shoe box. They're not putting call outs on here because that's like really something you're not able to do. But if we go to something like multivitamin, right? In the supplement category. You're seeing, flavors, ingredients, you're seeing boxes, you're seeing, all this other kind of stuff, right? So keep on going down here, you're seeing more of it. I mean, if you look at melatonin gummies, oh, forget it. Melatonin, just type in melatonin. You're going to hit with these edits over here that are not really on the packaging, right? This new look that's not really on the packaging. Made in the US, which is super important for anything that's consumable because I'm consuming it. So I want to know where it's from. I'm not saying made in the US is where it has to be, but what that's saying is that it's not made in China. Because even though everything we're talking on right now and I'm speaking into, this is all made in China, right? So I'm not saying anything made in China is bad, but when it comes to something that you're putting in your body, people are a little bit more particular about that, right? So for consumables, saying it's made in the US, and this is Vimerson Health has not always had this. This is a new addition because I look at these ASINs all the time. So this is something that's new for them, but even them, they're seeing how important that is for them to go and change it, right? But if I take a look at the rest of their listings, right, I'm willing to bet it's not rolled out on everything that see, it's not. But you see this over here, they're using this corner tab as a value prop to give more information. So you can see they're understanding that without this, they're not showing that it's methylated multivitamin because you couldn't read that it's methylated multivitamin. And that, if you're in the space, is a huge term and something that people are searching for. And it doesn't say it's easy to absorb, but now they're able to say that because they're using those post-edited callouts. Does that make sense?
Hmm. Yeah. So
Even stuff
I've
like, look at this one right here. This is a full wrap around it. Sleep aid for adults, time release melatonin. No one's ever going to order this and be like, hey, I love this. It helped me go to sleep really well. 1 star. I didn't get that pink little ribbon over there. It's never going to happen. So utilizing these kind of things is key to standing out from the search engine result page. Look at this right here, 10 milligrams per gummy, 120 days. Without those, you would have no idea, unless you were to read real small down here, about how many days it is and how many milligrams per gummy, right? What this doesn't tell me is where it's made. It doesn't tell me what's the flavor, right? So let's take this for example, right? And say, like, how would we make this better? Right. So this brand came to me and said, how can we make this better? Well, the first thing I'm going to say is this doesn't, the font is not really good for readability. Right. So that's a little bit harder to read as font. But do you see that? How it's like a little bit kind of wacky the way the font is? And it doesn't appear that it's
yeah.
on brand for them. So you want to make it very, very clear. The second thing is, where is it made? Because you could see from other examples that we looked at that made in the US is being called out by competition, and it's very, very important. So if I come down here and I scroll down on the listing, pretty decent A plus. I don't know where it's made. It doesn't say it's made in the US over here. So it's probably not made in the US. But here's the biggest thing right here. Forget about made in the US, forget about any of that kind of stuff. Let me go back so you don't cheat. What flavor do you think this is?
I already saw it's natural fruit.
No, it's not. That's not the
What?
flavor. The flavor is grape. So it might be
Really
natural fruit, but it's grape flavored, right? So
interesting.
what happens if you think grape flavored stuff is disgusting? I like grape flavored stuff. But if you don't like grape flavored, and if this was an ad, by the way, this is an ad. So I'm costing the money every
Hmm.
time I click on this. And if I
Yeah.
click on it saying I love it, if I don't see that it's grape flavor and I buy it, I'm going to return it and leave negative feedback because it didn't tell me that. But if I click on it and
Hmm.
I see that it's great flavor, I'm not going to buy, and it's wasted ad spend, right? And ad spend
Hmm.
is for supplements, it's very expensive. So you want to make the most out of your ad spend. So see here, we talk about the ingredients, but it's talking about melatonin. It's talking about tryptophan. It's talking about ashwagandha. But nowhere here does it say this is grapes. It says it shows grapes, but what happens if I'm just plowing through this listing, right? And I'm not seeing, like, here, let's go through the whole entire image stack. There, here.
Hmm.
Nothing is giving a huge call out that it's grape flavored. I would think by looking
It
at this,
actually said strawberry on that. Did you see that? Natural
natural
strawberry
strawberry
flavor.
flavored. what the
Yeah.
hell is the flavor on this? I don't even know. Now I'm confused. So
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing, right? Where it's like, here, now you're making me do work and confusing me, and confused shoppers don't buy. So here, take a look at this. Think of this. Now I'm not buying this because I already saw grape, then I saw strawberry. So I don't know, right? So the way to mitigate that, right, would be, and it's very, very simple to do. It's going to look a little bit wacky because I don't have the original assets, which is fine. But actually, let me go back one step. I would do it like this. Okay. And there's a lot of things that you can do in this kind of space that I would do, right? I love Canva because you can do certain things real kind of on the whim that you might not be able to do without a designer. So let's say, for example, I want to grab this little gummy bear and that little gummy bear. I don't want to touch anything else, but I want to grab those gummy bears out of the way, right? So what Canva is going to do is generatively fill. So you see it kind of blurred the text out here a little bit because it allowed me to pull them away so I can move them, right? Which is fine. It's fine because I'm going to show you why in a second, because now that's foreground, this is background. So what do I want to do? I want to fill and cover any sort of wonkiness with AI, generative fill with the flavor profile, right? So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to say purple grapes. And then I'm just going to grab something small. I don't want to do anything crazy, maybe even something like this. One cool thing with Canva is when you're looking for images, but you want ones that are having a cutout. So you see, these are all white background. You can very easily just click background remover and it'll remove it and you'll be fine. But if you don't want to deal with that, you can actually go to the search over here and just say cutouts only. So now this is only going to show me ones with no background, which I like to use for a lot of different things. So let's say, for example, you want to show the green grapes, right? Now what I can do is put this in front of this strategically to cover that position backwards, right? So now you could see that's probably not the best rendition of grapes. Usually maybe you'd want to show like the red or the purple grapes, right? But you could see in just 2 clicks, now I make it super clear this is grape flavored. And that's going to help you when you're running your ads to not have increased tacos, increased ACOS, wasted ad spend, lower conversion, get mitigate any sort of returns for something, because flavor is super important, because it doesn't matter if this is something that is amazingly good for me. If I'm not going to eat it because I don't like the flavor, it's basically worthless. You know what I mean? And you could do these kind of things. Like if I hit the background remover here, you could do certain things like the way sometimes they'll have like raining down in the background. I'm not a huge fan of that. I think that's kind of a little ridiculous to do that, like all, having all these kind of things raining down over here. But this is something people do to get, visually command some attention. But I think at a very minimum, showing the actual flavor is important, right? And then the other thing that a lot of people don't realize, and I'll make a new window here, when it comes to a 2-pack, is there's a really good company called AlgaeCal that I'm a monster fan of on Amazon. And I've met them before at multiple shows. And I think what they do is genius. Like, this is one brand on Amazon that I'm always looking at what they're doing because they're pushing the limits, and I'm sorry, but this is like, uh, the product itself could not work and I'd still love it. I'm not saying they don't work, right? But I'm just saying the way they execute is amazing, right? So take a look at this. I've never seen any brand do this. They're talking about bone density and they're showing a hand, but they're showing subtle kind of the bones inside of it. That is friggin' cool. That resonates directly with the product. And I think it's just fantastic. And I don't see anyone else doing it. Even stuff like this. So here's one. They have a lot of competition, but let me pull up. They don't do it anymore. I don't think here. This. So this is what I call mega label, right? So it's a 2-pack, right? But what they're doing is they're taking one label, stretching across the two, so the surface area is a lot larger because it doesn't give any value prop to show the same label twice. They've really perfected. Let's just show it once on 2 bottles and make it bigger, right? So that's what something like this could benefit from. So, for example, Let me make another window here so I don't lose my place. And here. So let's say, for example, and I'm in Canva, so really can't do like renderings really well in Canva, but that's fine. I'm just showing you the tactic or strategy here. So imagine this, right? So instead of having two labels that are showing the exact same thing, wouldn't it be great to have just one label that's going to show everything a lot larger, right? So here now,
Mm,
and I don't have the original assets, so I'm just winging it, but that's the fun of it, right? So now I can take this and I can now position this much larger at the top half, right? And then I could take the bottom portion and then say whatever. So you see, it just gives a lot more feel. And then you're able to say things like that 120-day supply, you're putting that over here and then making this larger. But that's the other thing that you want to test, right? And make sure it's going to resonate. So, at Trellis, we're seeing lots of customers running their ads and all the strategies and stuff like that, which is amazing. Understanding what's going to resonate and get the click and get the conversion, right? Managing the ads is second to making sure it's a good ad, right? So with things like sponsored products, you can't give additional assets for the creative, because the ad is essentially your hero image, right? So testing to make sure, is it better to say 120 days or 4 months, right? So like what sounds longer? 120 days is a larger number, but 4 months, right? So that's when you want to start to do those insights and testing to make sure with your specific audience, what's going to matter more, 120 days or 4 months. But even at a bare minimum, like you could just see back here, right? If I scroll out this far, right, I could
hmm
see a little bit of this information. I could see a lot, right? If I was able to position this properly, right? Now I'm having this, but I'm having this whole side to list features, benefits, where it's made, all this other kind of good stuff. Does that make sense?
So, yeah, I mean, I like this a lot. I want to drill down though on the current main image itself. I think actually, and again, yeah, I don't know this company, but I think they're wasting a ton of space here. Um, I don't think that Uber has any real value. I think I think the brand name is Nevis. I don't think they should have the brand name that big either. What I would actually do, or one of the things I would think about is raising the milligram size, and also the fact that ashwagandha, GABA, vitamin B6, magnesium, and lemon balm, all of those ingredients are so small. To me, I look at this and I say, like, we're using, like, all the wrong words are big and all the good words are small. And like when I look at this, I think to myself, like, they're wasting so much real estate on all the wrong stuff, in my opinion. Because when you're shopping, and we have a lot of companies we work with who are supplements. We don't do creatives, we just do ads. Um, but when I look at something like this, I'd be saying to myself, there's no reason for anybody to click. But when you look at the algae company that you brought up, I mean, that just screams you should choose our product. So that, like, this is really, really insightful and helpful, John. I
So
like this a lot.
a couple things, right? Before I say this, you notice this
Mhm.
giant gradient ring behind here that has absolutely no merit on it that they get away with
Yeah.
putting it there? It's genius. The image is not suppressed because it looks like it's part of what's being presented. But what it's doing is it's helping it stand out from the white background.
hmm
So these guys do a bang up job. Now, to touch on your point about raising the milligrams size, I
hmm
agree. But more often than not, a lot of brands have apprehension with this because they might not be the highest milligram, right? So
hmm
if they're not the highest milligram, they're not going to call it out as big as we think they should. I'm a fan. See here, for example, here's a 20 milligram one, right?
hmm
They probably wouldn't want to scream from the rooftops, hey, we're 10 milligrams if there's a 20
hmm
milligram that's out there, right? So that's often why I see, like, here's 20 milligrams, 20 milligrams, 20 milligrams. Like the first three out of the first five are 20 milligrams, right?
hmm
So um, now I would say, right? So that's why I see a lot of brands not giving or giving pushback on it. Now, if they were a 30 milligram melatonin,
Hmm.
100% what you're saying. Scream it from the rooftops because I don't see anyone that's a 30 milligram melatonin. But
Hmm.
when we're talking about mentioning the tactic you were talking about, it's perfect for this one, right? Not so much for the
Hmm.
ashwagandha and the ingredients, the sugar free. The sugar free is the
Mm.
sugar free here is the biggest value prop that is the
Hmm.
smallest, right? So real
Hmm.
quick, I'm gonna hide my screen. I'm gonna go over here because I want to quiz you real quick. What flavor is this?
Great.
Orange.
No way.
Oh, I'm sorry. I read that wrong. No, you're right. Great. I read organic and I thought orange. I thought I had the biggest whammy on my hands right now. Yes, you're right. Um, I thought for a second I had gold for LinkedIn because I was going to say if this is orange,
Yeah.
that's wild. But yes, it's great. But again, you would not know because
Hmm.
can you taste the grape? Do you see grapes? Do you have that vibe of loving grapes? No. But the biggest thing is the sugar free, right? Because even
Hmm.
for me, beat diabetes about 2.5 years ago and lost 160 pounds. And I'm super cognizant
Congratulations.
over, yeah, thanks. Super cognizant over like, I switched to Coke Zero. I still drink soda. It's bad for you, but I switched to Coke Zero. And for me, um, that's a huge value prop, the sugar free, right? So that's when I would take something like this and I would make that much larger. As a matter of fact, I would move the 60 days where the vegan is and I would put sugar free, zero sugar right at the top. That would be the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And to kind of touch on really quickly before we kind of wrap up in a little bit, stroller thing on LinkedIn,
Hmm.
the one that you had mentioned. We were looking at strollers, my wife and I, when I was going. The interesting thing is there's two types of SERPs or search engine result pages on Amazon. There's some categories have a 5 by, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and some have a 1 by, or just one straight down. When you're in a 1 by, if you're organically number 4, you could see I don't see you right away. I have to scroll down the page. But if you're organically number 4 here or position number 4 or whatever, I could see you without having to scroll down. So that's why if you're in these categories, it's super important to stand out right away because you have very
Hmm.
limited visibility because people having to scroll. So you see this right here, like
Hmm.
when we were shopping for a stroller, the first thing you wanna know, besides safety and stuff like that, is how compact is it? What does it look like folded up? And when you have brands that are showing like, this doesn't show me it folded up. This just shows me different angles and iterations and, ways to use it. This shows me it folded. I like this because this is cool, but if it doesn't fold up flat or as flat as I think, then I don't wanna buy it. So, this is even better. So, the more that you
Hmm.
can show in the image, right? So if I'm between these two, they're not equals in pricing, but if I was in between these two, well, this guy's telling me more information about the product that I need to know, and I like that, right? So I'm going to click in to learn more, and more you're seeing people leaning into that, and some brands that don't care, right? This one's doing the best of all three, so it's showing this, it's showing that, it's showing a different iteration, and then it's showing it folded up.
Hmm.
These are all things I look for when I'm talking to clients for hero images and understanding what is going to work for them. So there's a lot of people that do items that are utilitarian that come in packaging that no one cares about. Think of the last time you bought a pair of scissors. Can you remember the box that it came in? No. If you buy scissors, typically it's because you need scissors. My kids are going back to school soon, so I'm gonna have to spend probably $1,000 on all this nonsense. But take a look over here. Look at Westcott. Westcott, 10,000 units in the last 30 days, right? Do you think you're getting this giant tech? This is the best example I've seen of you're n they literally just made an infographic and put it up there, right? And I always like to just take
Hmm.
screenshots when I see crazy stuff like this and just make content of it because if you go and look at the reviews, right, look how someone's gonna get it. I'm sorry, where's that giant blue tag? That's not here, right? 5 stars, doesn't care. So this
Yeah.
but again, in certain categories, you can't do this, right? But if I was
Hmm.
selling scissors and I see competition doing this over here, and look at Fiskars, right? 40,000 units in the past 30 days. Now, if I look at this over here, what do you think the lifetime warranty? What do you think the odds of this coming with it? Nope. Comes in
Yeah.
this.
0%.
So
Yeah,
that's the
absolutely
way
not.
I tell people. I tell them, I talk to folks all the time, and they'll say, "John, I did what you said. I got an image suppression. Help. Oh, fix the image. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Play with this. Play with that. Try this. You should always have at least 4 to 5 iterations of a hero image at the ready, and try and see, right? So if I go down here, look at all these brands. I mean, KitchenAid is never going to try tactics because this is more definitely a vendor central offering and no one really cares because it's KitchenAid, right? Although they
Hmm.
should, but they probably don't care. But everyone down here, look, Westcott's still doing it with the smaller scissors. Look at this one, 24 pack, right? 24 pack, 8-inch heavy duty scissors. You think you're getting this? This looks like a retail display. I don't think you're getting this, but it says exactly what you need to know, right? No, you're getting it
Yeah.
probably like this, like clear, the scissors on the background. You're probably just getting it in like a blister pack. But that's the
Yeah,
thing,
exactly.
right? You want to just make it stupidly easy for people to shop. Like I tell people, look at this one. This is John Aspinall 1.0. You're taking a
Hmm.
box and you're a brown box and you're putting exactly what it is on there. 100%, right? And this is a vendor central offering. This is Scotch, right? And they're doing this. Now, are you going to get this over here? Nope, you're getting that brown box. You're not getting, I don't see any logos on the outside, unless there is, maybe. No, I doubt it, right? So that's the thing, risk versus reward, right? Now, this is a little bit different. This looks like retail packaging. This might come like this. This does, right? So this is retail packaging. So I would never make it look well displayed like this in this type of packaging if it didn't come in it, right? That's when you have those individual kind of call outs like this, right? This one, I mean, Fiskars and Westcott, they're doing a great job. See this adds no value prop. This is 100% going to be China Direct, right? I'm willing to bet, yep, China Direct. So this does nothing, right? Does it come with it? Maybe it comes with it. Oh, it comes with it.
Yeah, it comes with it.
But
It's a
I didn't
bonus.
know that. It's a bonus, but I also don't need that, right? Because I'm sure someone that's a professional, that uses leather and shears, they already have that. They don't need this little cheap nonsense, right? So, but that's what China does. They just throw random things in there just to show it. But look at what Fiskars is doing. If you're in the space, and I'll pull up one more example. We're back to school soon. Let's look at Compass. I don't know. So this is a good use case. Is it a compass? Yeah, so drawing compass. That's what I'm putting. This is a good use case for anyone that's doing drawing compasses out there. Why are you not doing exactly what the scissors guys are doing? The scissors guys are putting
Mm,
these call outs over there. So, Mr. Penn, you're out here selling this compass, and you should be having those call outs because I don't know what material this is made out of, what the dimensions are, what the use cases are. Does it come with the pencil? All those kind of things. How about this one right here? Would you know this is 30 pieces unless you really looked at this over here? No. Make it easy for someone to shop. Put a call out, put a box that says 30 pieces of whatever this is. Perfect for teachers, classrooms, after school, all these other kind of things. A great company that does this, or a great category rather, is chips. Funny enough, right? So chips will do this all day long. Look at this. Frito Lay is culprit number one. 10,000 units, 20,000 units, last 30 days. 40-pack snack box. Here's all the labels of what's included, and here's all the products. Do you think they're really getting a box that shows that? I don't think so, right? So sometimes I'm wrong. But here, look, you are getting a box with the logos on the side, right? That's one, but you're not getting a box that says 40 pack, right? So it's taking those little kind of nuances and making them so it's stupidly easy because I don't have to think 40 pack done. I'll buy it. Or if you take a look down here, let's say, look at this one, Zapp's 42 count 1 ounce snack bags. It probably comes just in a brown box, but just doing these post edits here assists with some. I've had these. I don't think they're very good. Assist with that. Look at Cheez It, 40 pouches. So it's these little kind of things that make when you make the shopping experience for a customer better and easier, you win on Amazon. And Amazon loves that because Amazon's customer focused and customer centric.
exactly. I mean, what I really like about this, by the way, is I like that they're using their kind of blank space packaging to call out things that the shopper wants, you know? you're using it to enhance the shopper experience, which is ultimately what both the shopper wants and what Amazon wants.
Look at this right
And
here.
so yeah,
It's a
yeah.
Welch's snack box, right? But if I look at the listing, it's this mixed fruit, berries and cherries, 60. I
Hmm.
mean, that's the thing. One last one I'll show you is deodorant. And I know like a lot of people aren't in like the, those kind of Procter and Gamble big companies, but there are folks in the deodorant
Hmm.
space that are crushing it. Look at this right here. Banner callouts. Save up to $1. I didn't even know you could do that on Amazon. Save up to $1. But you see these wraps. I show people every single day how to do these wraps in Canva with just 3 shapes. 3 shapes, and you can do this. It's stupidly easy not to do this. You could do this in any kind of CPG, face wash, face cream, shampoo. And I'll show you in a second how you do that. But look at shampoo and conditioner. All you have to look at shampoo and conditioner. Herbal Essence, Pantene, Mega Label. One label right across. That is a post edit.
Hmm.
That is not really on the product. They're pushing 20,000 units, 9,000 units. It makes it easy. So like if you were taking, if we wanted to replicate this, with our product, right? You can go over here to Canva. I could say just shampoo bottle. Let's just say a shampoo bottle, right? Here, this, cutouts. Let's take a regular shampoo bottle. Let's just take this. And let's say this was the conditioner friend of it, right? So I take this
Hmm.
and this, I'm gonna make it bigger like this, and put that right in the middle. Maybe a little bit smaller so it fits. Perfect, right there, right? So now all I have to do is on brand with whatever my brand is. And let's say it's, I don't know, we'll make it a wacky color like this, right? Taking this, stretching it across, just like this, centering it as best as possible. I might have to make this a little bit longer. Centering it right about there, right? Now you have the ability to put whatever you want. But the way to make this a little bit cooler is, oh, these are, Sean, I told you, these are 3 shapes you're doing, right? One, and then here's 2. And all you're doing with 2 is tilting it, putting it over here, taking the same color, making it slightly darker. Okay. Very, very easy stuff. And then sending it backwards. See how that curved the corner now? That's literally going to be a bend. So now I'm going to take that one over here, copy, paste, copy pasta. Okay. Bring it over here like this, connect it over here, and then backwards. In 3 seconds with 3 shapes, you have a full wrap. And now you have a label right here that you can say 2-pack shampoo and conditioner, made in the US, cures your ailments. If you're bald like me, it'll help you grow hair, whatever you want. Right? That's
Regrows hair.
grows hair. We're buying it. Both of us, we're gonna get that. But yeah, I think these are a lot of these tactics are ways to take your main image and hopefully think outside the box. And yes, you are going to run into, I got a suppression here. I got to fix this. It's not easy, but that's like running a business is not easy. Having kids is not easy, but it's worth it in the long run for a lot of these things. Amazon is not passive income. It's not chilling on a beach, sipping a Mai Tai with your computer. Oh, it's made $1 million today. So you have to work at it. And if you're serious, I mean, a lot of like my old mentor, Stephen Pope from Amazon guy says it all the time. PR is the easiest and fastest way that you can grow sales on Amazon. You are in control of that. You can do these tactics. Even if you have an agency, you can do these tactics yourself, right? If the agency is not doing it, do them yourself. Because if your conversion rate stays the same, forget about trying to convert better. Let's say your conversion rate is whatever it is. If you get more clicks and the conversion rate stays the same, you make more money. It's basic math.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Well, John, this is you definitely left my head spinning. There's a lot to think about here. And yeah, I'm very impressed. Thank you
Totally.
so much for being so generous with all of this like great information.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, where can people find you? So I'm
Yeah.
gonna wrap up right now, but where can they find you?
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm a week into my first role as a chief evangelist at Trellis. So, you can head on over to gotrellis.com if you need help and support with your ads, your DSP, your dynamic pricing, all that kind of good stuff. So, it's a natural fit for me. We're talking about creatives and ads. Those are 2 of the biggest things that go hand in hand. So, definitely check that out over there. head to goaspie.com. It's funny because apparently they're both Go domains, goaspie.com, for any sort of merchandising or consulting or strategy. I recently launched something called Aspie Connect, where it's just a very price conscious monthly fee where you have unlimited access via Slack with John Aspinall, me, where you could throw any kind of thing in front of me of creative. What do you think about this? Because in my head, no one has time for calls. No one has time to hop on a call and waste time and schedule it out. Wouldn't it be great if you just had instant access? I say instant, but instant-ish access to someone that can give you feedback and strategy and mockups on your images and creators right away. That's something I'm rolling out called Aspie Connect. Yeah, LinkedIn. I'm all over LinkedIn. Trellis will be exhibiting at Amazon Accelerate coming up in September. And yeah, I'm pretty much at all trade shows, walking around with my laptop looking for ASINs to chew up.
Nice. Well, John, look, I hope we cross paths again soon. Thank you for being such a great guest. And for everyone else, until next time.
Appreciate it.